Well, yesterday we had a chance to write down some magic words, things like, well, you know how. And I'm just curious, how many people here wrote them down? But these aren't the only words. And the young men up here were talking about words and how to talk to people. It's interesting that we never think about how people react to our words. So I want you to imagine I'm a brand new person on your team. As a brand new person, am I trained or untrained? Untrained, okay. Skilled or unskilled? Well, I have trained sequences of words to say to people or random oral diarrhea. So I go out to talk to 100 people a day. How many people here see some bad things in my future? And what I don't know is words will get people to react and make decisions almost instantly. I want you to imagine that you're shopping one day. A stranger comes up behind you, a salesman, and says, "Can I help you?" We automatically have a response to that that says, "Oh no, I'm just looking." So certain words will create certain automatic responses. By the way, if you smile, will that create an automatic response? Yeah, they smile back at you and trust you. So because a new person doesn't know this, I don't think we should send them out as human target practice. Maybe we could tell them what to say and what not to say to kind of give them a little bit better head start so people will listen to them and hear the message. And hopefully the message will resonate with them if it's the right time in their life. So I'm going to ask you to feel the back of your head and see how quick these type of decisions happen. And that happens before the presentation, before the plan, before anything else. So here's the first one. Some of you don't know, but I've recently graduated as a chiropractor in Houston, Texas. You know what they are, right? And I've learned a brand new technique on how to twist your head. Who wants to be first? All right, have you all made a decision? Before my presentation. Now, how unfair is that? You made a decision before you heard me say I graduated bottom of my class. 20% of the people could recover. Now, I saw it on the internet. But you made the no decision way before I ever got to the presentation. So what's interesting is we kill people before we even get the message started. And you made that decision on a program in the back of your mind called survival. Your survival program says, oh boy, you know, if I don't survive, all bets are off. No, 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 no. How many of you have children? Okay, is it okay if I take them skydiving with me? All right, now how quick was that decision? Now, depending on what they did to you growing up, you said, oh no, you can't take my babies, or I would help push, right? Isn't it interesting? We've already made our final decision, and I haven't even started my presentation. I haven't told you that I am a certified skydiver, that I'm successful 3 out of 4 times, that we're only going to skydive 1 centimeter. But have we made our final decision before things have even started? And as professionals, we have to realize that people's decisions are not on the plan, the product, the information. They are on how we start. And it's not fair. It's just how it works in real life. People make final decisions just like that. How many people here ever got a telephone call from a salesman? How many seconds to do the conversation before you made your final decision? Now, you made your final decision before the presentation. Is that true? That's not fair. But my question is, if you made your final decision before the presentation, do you think other people would do that to you? Oh, what percentage of the time? Yeah, a little over 100%, yeah. So we have to be careful in the first few seconds what we do, because that's when they make their final decision before all this information happens. So do you ever give much thought of the first words you say, or you just kind of mumble along, and just hope things work out? Decisions are instant. For example, who was your prime minister before? The backstabbing lady. Who was that? Okay. So I want you to imagine for a moment she's your current prime minister. And she's going to go over to the United Nations, and she's going to do a speech in about 10 days on how she's going to get Australia, Western Europe, and the United States out of debt once and for all. Now, how many people here have already made a decision? You've already made the decision it's going to be the greatest speech in the history of Australia, or a bunch of political gibberish like every prime minister before. Is that true? Here's what I find interesting. We've made our final decision, and she hasn't even started her speech for 10 more days. So do you think your prospect has made their final decision before you have started? Absolutely. And if you don't believe this, that people make decisions without presentations, how many people here have invited somebody to an opportunity meeting and they did not show up? Have they made a decision before the presentation? And if they did come to the presentation, they made a decision not to have dinner with their family, they made a decision not to watch TV or rest after work, they made a decision to come down and join and just hope we don't talk them out of it with a 3-hour stupid meeting like I went to. So we kind of get the idea that everything happens really, really quick when we sit down with the prospect. They make a decision to like us or not, based upon are we more like them or talk the same way or in rapport with them. And these are important things for us to start off with, because wouldn't you like to talk to people who already made a yes decision before you get started? And that's the secret of how you start accelerating things really fast. So right now, if you got the yes decision, by the time you show your presentation, they're sitting on your side of the table saying, whoa, whoa, this is great. Look at my business. Look at these products I'm going to be using. They're going to be excited. So we have to get the yes decision first. So let me show you how quickly people make that yes decision, or how quickly they do make decisions. Ladies, you know who you are, right? Ladies, have you ever seen a man in front of a television with a remote control surfing channels? Click, 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 click. Ladies, how long did it take the man to make the final decision to watch that channel or not? Click. And they made the final decision before they saw the presentation. Is that true? Now, ladies, you know this. Men are so stupid that men make the final decision before they've even seen the channel. And that's how men work. Now, men, I know you feel pretty bad about this, but that's the way it is. So since you feel bad about this, should we talk about the ladies? Ladies, have you ever been to a shoe store? You walk in the shoe store, 1,000 pairs of shoes on the wall. Do you need a complete and total presentation on each individual pair of shoes? All right, shoe number 1. This was made in Italy. The little old shoemaker lived in a mountain, and he had a son with a crutch. And they cut the hide out of the cow humanely, and then sewed it up and gave it some anesthesia and apologized and gave it some feed. And then there was this buckle factory. Do you need 1,000 presentations like that to make up your mind? No. Sometimes you stick your head in the store, look around. There's another shoe store down you want to go to right away. You say, nope, on to the next one. 1,000 decisions just like that. Well, how many of you have ever watched a video on YouTube? When you watch a video on YouTube, how many seconds does it take you to make the final decision if you want to watch that video or not? 5 seconds, 3 seconds, and we make the decision before the presentation. How many people here, by show of hands, have ever eaten at a restaurant? Oh, less than half. Interesting. Now, you should get out more. Have you ever made a decision to go eat inside of a restaurant many times before you've even seen the actual menu? So in that case, we made the decision before the information, before the presentation. How many people here ever ordered off the menus, an item off the menu, before you had all the information? Oh, were the vegetables organically grown? Did the chicken have a happy life before they killed it? So if I were to ask you when do people make decisions, after the presentation or before, what would you say? Interesting, isn't it? And we need to manage that first bit of time. So humans make the decision before we start telling them the plan, before we start telling them about the products. They've already made up their mind. It's just the way it is. And I see some of you are still going, oh, I'm not really sure about that, so let's try this. Ladies, again, you know who you are, right? Ladies, have you ever sometime in your lifetime met a young man, made up your mind about that young man, where that young man might fit in your life, and made that decision within the first 30 seconds of meeting that young man? Now, men, is that fair? No, they haven't heard our presentation yet. But it's what happens in real life. So, ladies, if you're sitting next to a man right now, look him in the eye and say, that's how it works. Are we all on the same page that people are going to make up their mind about us and our business before we even get started? So we have to manage it. If you have trouble remembering that, let me give you an example that you'll always remember. How many people here in this room made the final decision to get married before you had all the information? Just let me know when I've gone too far. Okay, so would you agree with me? We have to manage this first part of time when we actually talk to people. So did you feel how quick these decisions are happening in the back of your mind? That's how the human mind works, and since we're dealing with humans, we better get on with it. So I'm going to ask you to feel the back of your mind, and you tell me what decision you're going to make when I come up to you. You're my prospect. I'm a brand new distributor, totally untrained. I'm going to start off my presentation, my conversation with you with 5 words. Are y'all ready? I'm going to say these 5 words. Don't write them down. I just want you to feel the back of your brain and say, what was my decision after the first 5 words? Are we ready? Okay. So I'm the brand new distributor. I don't know what to say, what not to say. Well, kind of nervous. I come up to you and I say, would you be interested in... What do you mean, no? I'm only 5 words into this. Are you telling me that Australians are so cruel that they're going to give me an instant no decision just like that before I've even started because I said those 5 words? And at that point, I'm dead meat, roadkill, flat as a pancake, blowing off both feet with grenades, talking to a human cadaver from that moment on. I am so dead, and I don't even know what happened. So if you start with those 5 words, is that going to be pretty ugly? But hey, I don't know this. I'm going to talk to 100 people today because I listened to a motivational CD. So if I start my conversation today with those 5 words to 100 people in a row, what's my results going to be at the end of the day? I've been ripped off. It's a scam. It's a pyramid. This stuff doesn't work. Nobody ever wants to do it. Everybody wants to die quickly. This is awful. But don't worry. Even though I'm discouraged, that night I go home and listen to another motivational CD. And the next day I go out and talk to 200 more people. Now how many people have told me no? 300 consecutive no's. Do you think I might pick up a trend? Because I have some amount of common sense and I'm getting tired of the scar tissue, I quit. Does it have anything to do with your product? No. Anything to do with your presentation of the company? No. It all happened before, and this is what we have to manage as leaders. I totally quit. I'm out of it, but just before I turn in my kid, I say, oh, wait. I had a dream. I had a dream I could send my daughters to private school. I had a dream that maybe I wouldn't have to die at my job. I should give it one more try. So I'm going to give it one more shot. I'm your good distributor. I'm going to give it one more try. Are you proud of me? But the problem is, I don't know what to change. I don't even know what's going on. And I've tried changing stuff. I laminated the flip chart, but that didn't help. I put the video on high definition DVD. That didn't help. Put a ribbon on the product gift. No. I don't know what to change because I don't know. My sponsor's ripped me off, hasn't given me any good words to say or bad words, hasn't told me anything. So finally I realized maybe it's my first 5 words. I'm going to change my 5 words. I'm going to start with a new set of 5 words. I'm going to give it one more try. Are you ready? So I'm your brother-in-law. I come up to you, and here's my last shot. I'm going to try 5 new words to see if it works before I quit, and I say this to you. Are you ready? I just got involved with... Too close to home? This hurts, doesn't it? And I am out of the business, bad-mouthing the company, the products, the opportunity. I'm gone. How many people here think this sounds vaguely familiar? So when would be a good time to start fixing it? Now. So instead of putting our head in the sand and believing in the Easter Bunny and living in some fantasy world, we got to start learning some better words to say if we're going to do this as a business. And for everybody here, I encourage you to learn the basic skills of this business so we can go out and be like awesome. Now, judging from the looks of your faces here, you didn't like this example very much. You're all saying, oh man, I've done that to my downline too. Maybe not as much as you did, Big Al, but I've done it too. And I don't feel very good about ruining them, and they didn't know, and I didn't give them a chance. And you're feeling a little bit down about this, so would it be okay if I gave you 5 words that worked? Yes. And would it be okay if these 5 words got your prospects to say yes immediately? Yes. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? So would it be okay if we learn these words right now? Yes. Would it be okay if we write them down? Yes. Would it be okay if you ask your sponsor if you haven't figured out what they are yet? Yeah, would it be okay if? Yeah, so let's write down these 5 words. Would it be okay if? Do we all have it? Yeah. Let me tell you about these 5 words. If you say, would it be okay if, there's a natural program in the back of the mind of 97% of the people you talk to that is going to say yes immediately. 3% of the people are psychologically damaged. Leave them alone. Now, you know who they are. What I'm saying is if you say, would it be okay if, the back of the mind for 97% of the people are going to go, yes, 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 high five, totally there, yes, don't even know what it's going to be, yes, 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 we're in. Stupidest program I've ever seen. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are you trying to tell me if I just say, would it be okay if, about 97% of the people are going to say yes immediately? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, if you're skeptical about this, I don't blame you. I was skeptical, too. I was really skeptical. You know, engineers were skeptical people because it sounds almost too good to be true, almost unbelievable that we could just say, would it be okay if, and people naturally say, oh, yeah, before they even hear the rest of the sentence and even think about it. But that's kind of how it works in real world. So if you're skeptical here and thinking, oh, I'm really not sure about it, would it be okay if I gave you some cool examples? You're going to run me over in the parking lot, aren't you? But how many people here felt the instant yes decision? So would it be okay if I gave you additional cool examples besides that one, all right? Feel inside your brain. See how quick the yes decision happens when I say this. Would it be okay if you had an extra paycheck? Yeah. Or, would it be okay if we could fire the boss? Yeah. Or would it be okay if we could stay home with our children and still get a full-time paycheck? Yeah. Would it be okay if we could retire 10 years early at full pay? Yeah. I was in the Ukraine a little bit ago. Obviously not the wisest of decisions, but I was there and I was talking to a group of old people. Now, I know they were old because I was the youngest guy there. So I looked at the old people and I said, so what'd you guys say to keep the young people away, huh? And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, it had to be something you said because you kept all the young people out of here. And they said, well, what do you mean it's something we said? I said, well, what do you say to young people? I said, when we see young people, we say, would it be okay if you could retire 10 years early? That's like 90 years away. They don't care. So why don't you say something better for somebody who's young? Maybe somebody who's 18, you could say something like, would it be okay if you didn't have to work 45 years like your parents? And they're going to put down their beer and video game and say, yeah, tell me more. Just like that. So, would it be okay if you could have a 5-day weekend instead of 2? Would it be okay if you could wake up every day at the crack of noon? Would it be okay if you could wake up every morning, sit out in the front lawn, and wave goodbye to your friends going to work? Would it be okay if you never had to show up for work again? Would it be okay if you could travel the world and still get paid? Would it be okay if you could work 3 weeks out of the month but get paid for 4? Would it be okay if you could take a 1-week holiday every month? Would it be okay if you could take a 6-month holiday twice a year? Would it be okay if you're quicker at math? Would it be okay if you're going to buy an apartment for your mother-in-law far, far away? Would it be okay if you can make more money part-time than your husband does full-time? Would it be okay if you could wake up every morning feeling like $1 million? Would it be okay if you could fall asleep at night within 7 minutes of your head touching the pillow? Would it be okay if you had so much energy that your grandchildren whine, "Grandma, Grandma, slow down, I can't keep up"? Would it be okay if you could feel like you're 16 years old all over again, but with better judgment? Would it be okay if you can make your skin younger while you sleep? Would it be okay if you could keep wrinkles away longer? Would it be okay if you protect your skin from the Australian climate? How are we doing? How many people here have figured out if you say, would it be okay if, it's ka-ching, 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 people are going to say yes immediately, make that final yes decision before you tell them what it is. So now when you talk to them, they're on your side of the table. So are you ready to give this a little bit of practice? Because I use this all the time, and this is scientifically proven. This is scientifically proven to work by children. Small people, powerless, get everything they want. Mom, Dad, would it be okay if I do my homework on Monday instead? Would it be okay if I stayed at Susie's tomorrow night? Would it be okay if I got a Nintendo 13? I heard they're educational. Oh, yeah, you've been played like a drum. Where do you think I learned this? I have a daughter. Hi, Dad. Would it be okay if, here's the checkbook, save my time. So, I use this all the time. All the time I use it. Whenever there's a line at the pizza buffet, I run to the front and say, would it be okay if I slip in here? Oh, yeah. 97% of the people just like that, but if I hit a 3%, they say, well, I don't really know. And I say, well, you know how people from Australia are polite. Right? So I'm just curious, would you carry a couple extra pieces for me? Yeah. It's easy if you talk the right way. Would it be okay if rocks? So are you ready to give this a try? So I'm going to ask you to grab the person next to you, turn to them, and try a couple would it be okay's. And if you can't think of what to say, turn to the person next to you and say, well, would it be okay if you go first? All right, let's begin. Okay, was that fun? So, would it be okay if we learned some more magic words? I mean, we have I'm just curious, and we have well, you know how, and we have would it be okay if. The reason these magic words work is people have programs in their mind. If I say Labor Party, instantly your mind says we have a program for that, how we're going to feel, good or bad, right? So certain words like can I help you activates a program, oh no, you're a salesman. Is that true? So somebody comes up and says, can I help you? Or would you be interested in? Or I just got involved in. The back of their mind goes, whoop, 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 dive, Scotty dive, shields up, salesman approaching. Run, run, save yourself, hide your wallet, hide your purse, get the shoes, get out there, run, 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 boop, boop, boop. You felt that, right? People run by programs. And we have to run by programs because we can't think about everything. If we think about everything, it wouldn't work. You can only have one thought at a time. If you had to think about everything, say, oh man, look at the design on that. It looks like LED lights and some incandescent lights up there. I heard some noise outside, but it's probably not dangerous. And it's not too hot in here or too cold, so I don't have to worry about sweating or shivering. And, oh man, I forgot to make my heart beat. So which ventricle do I open first and how much nerve energy? And I forgot about the breathing. You know, do you see the problem? Everything happens in our lives automatically based upon pre-existing programs in our mind. Because we can't think of everything. So we can have one thought, and everything else has to run on these millions and millions of automatic programs. So let me tell you about an automatic program you have. It's called survival. Your ancestors were not the first people to leave the cave. The first people to leave the cave were eaten by the tigers. And your ancestors said, man, don't be a loner going out there alone. Stay with the group, stay inside, wait till the tigers are full. We want to survive. And they formed this survival program. And every one of your ancestors had the survival program. Those that didn't reproduce because they were eaten by the tigers. Every prospect you meet is thinking survival, survival. Keep my money. I need food, shelter, clothing. Be careful. It's survival. To show you how that works, you go out into the bush and that's strange. You go out in the bush and you discover a bush. All right? So you're standing next to this bush. The photographer is taking your picture. Man, you discovered a brand new bush. You're famous. And the photographer says, hey, look at that bush. It has some berries on it. Do you want to be the first person to eat those berries? How many people here feel the survival program kick in and say no? Before the presentation, before you found out these berries are high in vitamin C and low in cyanide. Now, do you see how quick we made that decision? So we make decisions based upon survival as stay with the group, be safe, don't be first. Example, stay with the group, late at night, in the middle of Sydney, dark, narrow street. Do you want to walk through alone or with a group of other people? Group of other people, because that's our survival kicking in. Or maybe you're hungry today and you go down Restaurant Row and you see a whole bunch of restaurants. In the first restaurant, the lights are on, the employees are there, no customers. Second restaurant's full of happy people, smiling, slapping each other on the back, toasting, cheering, having a great time, singing songs. Which restaurant do you want to eat at? Second one. And we make that decision because, well, it's obviously more popular and the food is better. We don't know that, do we? We don't know the food is better. We haven't even seen a menu yet. And we don't even know it's more popular. Maybe the first restaurant, the food is so good, they all run home to tell their neighbors. And the second restaurant, they're handicapped at the table and can't leave. We don't know. But we made a decision. There's more people there. Stay with the group, be safe. Do we totally get the safety and security and survival technique? And our prospects make decisions based upon that also. Say, stay with the group, be safe, don't be alone, or don't get picked off. So when you sit down with a prospect, from the moment you sit down, they're not thinking phytonutrients. No, no, no. They're not thinking about missing ingredients. No, what they're thinking about is survival. From the moment you sit down, they say survival. How many people up and down my street have joined network marketing and retired? That's a grand total of 0. And how many people up and down my street worked hard all their life and then retired a year before they died? Everybody. Which group is it safe for them to be with? And so from the moment you get started, they say, no, no, no. I don't want to be a loner out there. I don't want to try something like this and it doesn't work out. They'll all make fun of me and I'll be, getting arrows in the back. I'm going to be with everybody, be safe. I'll just go to work and die. Is that true? And you know that because when you sit down with them, they won't even let you start the presentation. They're saying things, oh, no, we don't do those sort of things. No, it's not for me. I'm not a salesman. I don't know anybody. I only know 3 people. 2 of them hate me. We just don't have time for this. It feels like a giant snowball rolling down the mountain, crushing you, and you can't even start the presentation. Is that true? How many people here have been there where you can't even start the presentation? They won't even let you. All that negativity just crushing you. Now, if today we could learn how to turn that giant snowball around 180 degrees, so all that negative momentum was now positive momentum, forcing them to buy, forcing them to join, would that be pretty cool? Yeah. And we can do that in the next minute. Because all it takes is just 2 words. You can turn that giant snowball around, turn all that negative momentum into positive momentum with 2 words. The only reason we're not using these 2 words is we don't know. But could we learn? I mean, you learn how to use a cell phone, right? Learn how to drive a car. You certainly can learn skills in network marketing. So most people here would like to know these 2 words so you can start rocking and rolling right away. And most people here would probably be pretty upset if I didn't tell you the 2 words. Is that true? Because most people here don't want to go home not knowing these 2 words and being crushed over and over and over again. So most people here ready to start learning these 2 words? Most people ready to write them down? Most people here have a partner that's probably already figured out what these 2 words are? Or most people here just totally clueless and will never figure out that most people are the most people, which is the most people 2 words we should probably use. Most people. M-O-S-T, people. Right. Here's what's interesting. When you say most people, it activates that survivor program. When you say the words most people, would you like to know what happens in the back of people's heads? This happens in a microsecond. But I'll slow it down so you can hear the back of their mind. Now, the back of the mind does not think, it just activates on programs, little scripts. So when you say most people, the back of your prospect's mind does this in a microsecond. It says, most people. Am I part of most people? Or am I part of less people? Not many people are part of less people. I'm probably part of most people. Plus, I want to be part of most people. Less people get eaten by the tigers. That's really here. I don't want to be part of less people. So I'm with most people. I do what most people do. Most people get excited about. Most people type person. Yeah! And just like that, they make a decision to be with most people. So when you say most people, they want to be with most people because they want to survive, because most people want to survive. So how would you use this in conversation? So, well, let me ask you this. I think that, most people here like to learn how, right? So most people ready? All right. So most people join at this level. Most people who buy this product also gets this product. Most people think automatic orders make a lot of sense. Most people like to build a business by telling their friends about the products. I mean, most people wouldn't want to keep these great products secret from their friends. Most people want to live longer. Most people find dying early inconvenient. Most people get their convention ticket right away when they sign up. Most people come to Saturday training. Most people call their best friend right away. Most people like to have a little opening meeting at their home the very next night. Most people start taking these products first. How are we doing? Most people like to look younger. Most people like to be healthier. Most moms would like to protect their children from all the stuff at school. Most people rock. And when you say most people, nobody ever notices. And it's used against you all the time. Do you ever watch TV and they say 4 out of 5 dentists recommend? Oh, most people, yeah. I mean, most teachers don't get combat pay. Most teachers hate their job. Most teachers would like to have a pay raise. Most people think the prices of stuff in Australia keep going up and up, it's hard to live. Most people would like to have more money. Most people think 2 paychecks are better than 1. Ooh, let me think. No, it seems good, yeah. How are we doing? Most people is an easy thing to say in conversations. One of my favorites. Well, you know how's a favorite? Would it be okay if it's a favorite? And most people are my 3 favorite things to say anytime. So most people here are ready to practice? Yeah. Most people here still have a partner that will talk to you? All right. So most people ready? Turn to your partner and most people them to death. Let's start. Okay, was that fun? Yeah, most people think it's fun. How many people here are going to start using most people when you get a chance? Yeah, because I'm at the pizza line. Would it be okay? Slip in front? Well, I'm not really sure. Well, most people would let me in. Yeah. I never miss a shot. So, now, everybody says that most people is not the only 2 words in existence that you could use. And everybody says if we could learn more 2-word combinations, we would be awesome. And everybody says the quicker we can learn the next 2-word combination, the faster we can learn even more. And everybody says if you haven't figured out the next 2-word combination, you haven't been listening. And everybody says if you can't figure out what the next 2 words are, you might ask your partner. And everybody says if I just stopped saying everybody says, you'd have a chance to write down everybody says. Here's what happens. When you say everybody says, the back of their mind says, ooh, am I part of everybody? Am I part of nobody? Nobody's part of nobody. I'm part of everybody. If everybody says that, means I say it. If I say it, it must be true because I'm not a liar. If you say everybody says, they will accept whatever you say next is totally true. No further proof needed. No testimonials, no research reports, no websites, just everybody says. You say, well, that's amazing. I say everybody says, they believe it. There's 2 ways to get people to believe things. Number 1 is beat them up with facts, figures, charts for an hour. The other way is take iron-fisted control their mind with 2 words and make them believe it right away. Which way is more humane to your prospect? So everybody says we'd like to live longer. Everybody says things are so expensive in Australia now. Everybody says you can't get rich working a job. Everybody says their jobs interfere with their week. Everybody says we need more time with our family. Everybody says we should protect our children from all the stuff at school. Everybody says if we build our immune system, we have a better chance to stay healthier longer. This is not hard, is it? Everybody says they instantly want to be part of everybody. So are you all ready? Turn to your partner next to you. You can try a couple everybody says, like everybody says waking up at the crack of noon is a lot better than by the alarm clock. Or everybody says they'd like to sell their alarm clock to their neighbor. Just everybody says your partner right now. Let's begin. Well, did that go pretty well? Everybody knows that everybody says is not the only other two-word combination. Everybody knows if we can learn the next combination quickly, we could rock and roll. And everybody knows that the next two-word combination I'm using already, and everybody knows to write down everybody knows, because when you say everybody knows, what do they say? I'm part of everybody, I'm part of nobody. Nobody's part of nobody, I'm part of everybody. If everybody knows it, I know it. If I know it, it must be true. So we have 4 we've learned so far this morning. Is that right? We've learned everybody knows. We've learned everybody says. We've learned most people, and would it be okay if? Should we just put these 4 together just as a little baby step starter and see how it sounds? So, what's your newest product called? Youth. Yeah, it's better than old. Yeah. Good choice. So I'm your brand new distributor. You haven't showed me any type of skill, so I start off my meeting like this. And we're going to see who's going to do better, your brand new distributor or you. So I start off, I'm going to have a little skincare party, invite a bunch of ladies over, and I say, we have a product called Youth. It goes 17 million layers of the skin deep. Our hydrolyzed enzyme molecule has been researched and patented and copyrighted, and our German scientists can beat up your French scientists. And this has been proven, a research report, 44-page, I'd like to read to you now about the... What decision have they made? Yeah, they're probably signing a petition for me to get gone. All right, so, but you, starting to learn a few magic words, you might start off your youth party like this. A bunch of ladies there, and you say, thank you for coming to this youth party. Everybody knows the Australian sun is hard on women's skin, and everybody says if we don't protect our skin, we'll have wrinkles so deep we can store food in them. So most ladies want to protect their skin and make it look younger. So would it be okay if you tried this youth product for 30 to 60 days to see how young you could look? Yeah. I'm being manipulated. Oh, what? Do you guys have some sort of magical protein powder shake that they can drink and maybe manage their weight? All right, so thank you for coming to our fat party. We got this chalky tasting protein powder you're probably not going to like, but you kind of mix it up, and the kilocalories here is going to be less than the saturated fat you would get from an egg yolk. And by reducing your kilocalories per day and increasing your energy output here, the differential will help you reduce the amount of calories in your life. It will cause a calorie deficiency, so the weight loss would begin, and you'll feel hungry all the time, but get over it because you need to suffer and... Maybe not. But you could do this like, everybody knows breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and everybody says if we have the right breakfast, it'll help us manage our weight. So most people like to have a delicious chocolate shake every morning for breakfast. So would it be okay if you got a pallet load because you need it? All right, went too far. But do you see the difference in how we could talk to people? By taking any product, or could we do it about the opportunity? Everybody knows things are so expensive in Australia right now, and everybody says it's hard to get by in one paycheck, so most people need an extra paycheck. So would it be okay if I showed you how you can get an extra paycheck with our cool business? Ka-ching. And it's as easy as that, just putting those 4 things together. I did them all backwards. So would it be okay if you practice? Would it be okay if you grabbed your partner and start off with, would it be, well, let's start off, everybody knows. Everybody says, most people, would it be okay? And just fill in the blanks. You don't have to be good. We just heard about it, but just start getting the feel about this. Because everybody knows the more we practice, the better it'll be. And everybody says if we don't practice, we're not going to get this right before we leave here. So most people want to be good at this before you leave here today because, well, would it be okay if you're good at it so you can sign up people right outside the door? All right, so everybody ready? Turn to your partner and just try a couple of these magic words. Let's begin. All right, are we getting better? And you need to practice this on all kind of things. I see some of the people here talking to their partner saying, everybody knows I'm better looking at you, and everybody says I'm a lot smarter too. So most people wish they were me. Would it be okay if you asked for my autograph? All right, so you can mess with your kids. Everybody knows kids like to eat, and everybody says nobody gets to eat until the rooms are clean. So most children would run to clean their rooms right now. Would you do it right now so we all could eat? So just like quick, we can mess with people. So we have 6 really cool things to say already, don't we? 2 from yesterday, 4 today. Now, there's an old saying that practice makes perfect. And there's an old saying that 2 paychecks are better than 1. And there's an old saying that you should never listen to what people say, but only observe what they do. There's an old saying that a stitch in time saves 9. There's an old saying, if you're not the lead sled dog, then the view is always the same. There's an old saying, you should never put your tongue on a frozen pipe. And there's an old saying that if you say there's an old saying, people will naturally believe whatever you say next because it's an old saying. So the next set of words is there's an old saying, because when you say there's an old saying, people will naturally believe it. No further proof needed. How cool is that? There is an old saying that dying early is inconvenient. There's an old saying that there's no fat people in nursing homes. There's an old saying that we never want our face to look older than we are. There's an old saying that our face is our first impression. There's an old saying that 2014 is going to be the best year ever. How old can that one be? I'm making these things up. There's an old saying, an extra paycheck is better than a stick in the eye. Just make them up, all right? But putting there's an old saying in front of your facts makes it easier for people to say, let me put away all my prejudices and just accept it. Because if it's an old saying, it has to be true. Is that right? So turn to your partner right now and just tell them some cool old saying that there's an old saying, if you don't take care of your skin, then you'll have wrinkles so deep you can store food in them, right? Something as easy as that. Are y'all ready? Turn to your partner, try it. There's an old saying.
Some taglines as to how we could use them to invite someone to a meeting.
What?
That was the same for the written word.
Yeah. Okay, how are you all doing? Everybody got it? I had a couple questions saying, could you use this to invite somebody to a meeting? Yeah, you can use it anywhere. Could you use it as a written word? Yeah, it works in writing too. So let's invite somebody to a meeting. Maybe you're standing by the coffee machine at work tomorrow, and you might say, there's an old saying that a job will guarantee that you'll be broke. There's an old saying, you can never get rich working a job. There's an old saying that if we stay here, our dream-sucking vampire boss is going to take little bits of our brain out every day, turning us into a human zombie and only leaving us with half a brain. And everybody knows we don't want to work here the rest of our life, and everybody knows we don't want to be here 85 years old holding the same dirty coffee cups, and everybody says if we don't do something, we're going to die here. So would it be okay if you came with me to a meeting here tonight and so we can both escape together? Little things like that can make it work, right? So you can use them anywhere. But we got people to believe us now. We got conversations going. How many people here have ever talked to somebody and nobody was home? Remember, we're talking to them and thinking all this other stuff. So one of the things we want to do as professionals here, so they even hear our message, is freeze their brain. We want to freeze somebody's brain, bring it to a complete halt, make them forget whatever they're thinking about. You know, oh, you're a salesman, we'll Survivor 13, get off of Island 14, and totally focus on the words we say like a puppy dog waiting for a treat. And then they can hear our message. Because if we don't do that, then we have to keep our day job, right? Because we'll be talking and they're not listening. So what we have to do is take iron-fisted control of somebody's mind. Now, if that bothers you, let me point out they're not using their mind and we can do a better job. But we're going to take iron-fisted control of another person's mind, freeze it, bring it to a complete halt, make them forget whatever they're thinking about so they can hear the cool things we have to say. How many people here think that's a pretty good plan? Yeah. Now, to take control of somebody's mind, you don't have to be a psychologist or levitator or do magic card tricks. All it takes is words. And you can take control of another person's mind with as little as 9 words. How many people here believe that's even possible? Oh, my influence is underwhelming. Okay. What I'm saying is, you could say 9 words to freeze their brain. If you had that ability, would that make your business better? So instead of them having all these other thoughts going on, they're listening anxiously for your next word. So we have to freeze their brain, bring it to a stop, make them forget whatever they're thinking about, all the drama in their life, and totally focus on what we're about to say next. And we can do it with as little as 9 words, 4 words, 2 words. There's lots of combinations, but I like 9 words because it shows that, well, for people in Australia, that Americans can memorize 9 consecutive words. Now, if you're skeptical about this, again, I appreciate it because when I first heard this, it said 9 words to take control of somebody's mind, freeze it, almost impossible. But this is the type of skill we need to start moving up to different levels and new positions in the pay plan. Is that true? Now, I have some good news and some bad news. I have some good news and some bad news. That'd be roughly how many words in Australian? 9. I don't know, maybe you add on mate or shrimp on the Barbie or something like that. So, we watch movies, we know about you guys. We saw Crocodile. All right, so, how many people here think you can master those 9 words? Now, what's interesting, when you say I have some good news and some bad news, do you think the survival program kicks in their mind? Ooh, shh, this could be important for us to live. Oh, wait, the curiosity program kicks in. What's the good news? What's the bad news? I cannot go on in life until I know the good news and the bad news. Shh. Froze their mind. And it's used against me all the time. When people learn this, they send me an email, and the subject line says, BigAl, I got some good news and some bad news. I know what they're doing, but I still have to open the email. The human brain has no chance. This is probably illegal. Anyway, there's a young man named Alex. He's in San Francisco about 4 years ago. He's 26 years old, works at this big office. He comes to a workshop. The next day he goes to work, and he sends me an email. He says, BigAl, I went to my office today. I walked in. I'm just a little, young kid at the office. I just walked in, and I said to the office, I have some good news and some bad news. And he writes, the whole office got quiet. He said, I felt such power. And then he writes, but I didn't know what to say next. So maybe we could have some pretty good things, right? So I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we stay here at work, we're dead. But the good news is there's a way to escape. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is as we get older, our skin, gets older and starts to dry up and wrinkle. But the good news is there's a product called Youth to help keep your skin healthy. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is if you use our new skincare, your skin almost gets younger while you sleep. But the bad news is after 3 or 4 months, you won't be able to buy alcohol anymore. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is having a job will just make us broke, but the good news is we can start a business for less than you think. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is our children are exposed to just about everything at school from all the other sick kids. But the good news is we can give them a little head start with some good nutrition before they leave. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we're fat. But the good news is we can help manage our weight by changing what we have for breakfast. I have some good news. How many people here think you could do this? Yeah. So what you do is take some of the bad news and turns it into benefit. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we're going to die. But the good news is we can put it off as long as possible. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is you're young, and if you build this business, you can be retired, rich, and single at age 21. But the bad news is you'll be bored with all that money with nothing to do. Good news and bad news rocks. It makes people stop and listen. So how many people here think you can use a good news and a bad news? So I'm going to ask you to turn to your partner, and, well, if you can't think of what to say, just say to your partner, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is we get to practice. The bad news is you're my partner. So y'all ready? Turn to your partner and try a quick good news, bad news. Let's begin. All right. Everybody have a chance to practice? Here's my question. Do you think I have some good news and some bad news is the only 9-word combination in the history of the universe? No, there's tons of these. And the more we learn, the more flexibility we have, the more people we can talk to, the more lives we can change. Now, there's 2 types of people in the world. There are 2 types of people in the world. Again, 9 words in Australia, right? When you say there's 2 types of people in the world, what happens to their mind? Frozen so they can hear your message. There's 2 types of people in the world, those that like me to give examples and those that just like taking notes. Are y'all ready? There's 2 types of people in the world. Those that struggle to lose weight, eating funny foods, exercising, and watching the weight just keep coming back. And those that have a plan to lose weight one time and keep it off forever. There's 2 types of people in the world. Those that buy expensive plans at health clubs and eat exotic foods and still have trouble losing weight. And those that change what they have for breakfast to start managing their weight more healthily. There's 2 types of people in the world. Those that find losing weight very, very easy, and those of us that are big-boned, a metabolism problem, and allergic to exercise because I turn red and break out in a sweat, that find it difficult to lose weight without additional help. So, 2 types of people in the world. Those that know the secret of keeping their skin looking young forever, and those that are wrinkling every night while they sleep. There's 2 types of people in the world, those that hope that their boss will give them a 200% raise, and those that actually do something about it by starting their own part-time business. There's 2 types of people in the world, those that are just giving up all hope in life and just waiting at work, waiting for their chance to die, and those that want to start their own part-time business so they can do something for their family and leave a legacy. There's 2 types of people in the world, those that are stuck in boring jobs, moving paper from one side of the desk to another, and those that like to have an exciting career changing people's lives. There's 2 types of people in the world, those that like to be rich, and those that have just given up all hope depressed. It'll take just whatever other people will give them. How we doing? There's two types of people in the world, those that get it and those that don't. And you can be as outgoing or exaggerated or as quiet as you want. I like to say this. There's two types of people in the world. Those that have to drive to work every day, fighting traffic on the Sunshine Coast Highway, going to work, buying lip gloss by the case because they have a full-time job kissing their bosses behind. And those that like to start their own part-time business so they can be home doing what they like. I mean, there's two types of moms in the world. Those that have to warehouse their babies in daycare, paying other people big money to watch them grow up. And those that get started tonight, so next year they can be home with their babies. Go too far? All right, there's two types. How many people here get it that if we freeze their mind, at least we can get our message inside? And that's all we ask. Once the message is inside, they can make their own decision. And if their decision is, wow, I could be healthier and have more time with my grandbabies and take them to the zoo and keep my health, or their decision might be, well, my children visit me more when I pretend to be sick. I'm okay with both. They had a choice. But what I'm not okay with is our message not going inside their head where they're being deprived a choice. So let's freeze their brain with there's two types of people in the world. So are you all ready? Turn to your partner and tell your partner there's two types of people in the world. Let's begin. Well, how'd we do? Are we getting better? When you use magic words, here's what happens. You can change people by opening up their mind before you show them what you're going to present. An open mind means they have a chance to receive it. So I will show you the difference. Brand new distributor. Thank you for coming to our opportunity meeting tonight. We are in the health and wellness business. It's a 14 gazillion, $0.7 gazillion business throughout the world. And we are forerunners in the research and technology. Our scientists have copyrighted and trademarked every molecule known to mankind. Through our research and development, we have learned that by combining the 7 essential sugars with the 4 essential cereals, you can have a healthy breakfast. And we have this nutrition product, and our company founder walks on water when it's frozen. He's a wonderful family man. He has several wonderful families to prove it. And our secret ingredient is picked underneath a rock in China at midnight by leprechauns. And you have the general idea, right? But could we have done a better job maybe by saying, thank you for coming here tonight? I'm just curious, how many people came here tonight because maybe you want a little change in your life? And, well, you know how life gets boring, just go to work, come home, rest, go to work, come home. It just gets boring. So most people here would like to have an exciting change in their life, maybe a brand new career, because everybody knows we get bored with the same old job, and everybody says we want a chance to maybe, express ourselves and make a difference in the world. You see, there's an old saying, we've got to make life worth living because we only get one chance at it. You see, there's two types of people in the world. Those that say life is meant for living, let's grab it and go for all the gusto we can, and the other people say, hurry up, I'm just waiting to die. All right. Now, would it be okay if I showed you a plan tonight that maybe could change your life forever and make your life the most exciting experience ever? And at this point, your prospects are leaning so far forward, they have carpet lint on their nose. They're sitting there in a pool of drool. They're saying, tell me more, here's my chance. Their mind is open, and now you can deliver your message. And the only difference was, we changed some words. So how many people here think you can change some words? All right, we're going to do a little experiment here. If you're in the front row, you're going to turn around and look at the second row. If you're in the third row, you look at the fourth row. Past that, you're going to be confused. So here's what we're going to do. I want you to form a little group of 6 or 8 people. We're going to take about a minute and a half. I want you to have a conversation, talk about anything you want, but use as many of these cool words as you can. So you might say, everybody knows I have a good-looking cat. Everybody says the best-looking cat in Queensland. Next person says, but most people know cat lovers are losers. So would it be okay if we talked about money instead? Next one says, there's an old saying that people talk about money ain't got any money. The next person says, well, you have the idea, right? So turn around, form a group of 4 or 8 people for a quick minute and a half. Let's talk as quickly as we can. Let's begin. All right, we only had a chance to start. Let's turn around very quick. Everybody have a chance? All right, was that fun? Everybody have a chance? We could do this for hours, couldn't we? But I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is we're out of time. But the good news is you can use these words to mess with people. Because there's 2 types of people in the world. Those that mess with people with magic words and those that get messed with. So, good luck and thank you for today. Thank you.